All right, so let's look at some of the fun Easter eggs in here. First, if you're like, well, we don't need this entire thing in here, you can just pull this whole thing out, and then you have room for your dog to get in there, for your own little cooler, or whatever you need, your little bag for your dog.
Nice. I do like how you don't have set, like I can put no matter how big my drink is.
Yeah.
I can put it in there.
Yeah, there's also cup holders here, so you can pull this down and some cup holders there. Extra storage space there for the passenger. If you look on the rear or the right side of the door, there's charging space for you to put your phone there, as well as storage down below. The U.S. version is going to be much bigger, so you'll have a lot more storage opportunities. You know, Americans love cup holders in the Atlas.
I already said
17
yes.
cup holders in the Atlas.
Were there?
I don't know if you caught that whenever
I did not.
you're cruising around in it. This car is right now based on a yellow. Since this is wrapped, it's based on the Pomelo yellow version. So if this wrap wasn't on it, it would be yellow. So that's why the interiors are yellow. And then the U.S. version will have, you know, much different interiors that are a little bit more luxurious, a little bit more spacious as well. It'll have a third row. Why don't we check out some of the fun things in the back seat?
This car is like sunshine to me. Nice.
So, of course, the European version have these little fun trays, so you can kind of lift those up. Your kids can put their little sippy cup or their tablet or whatever they want. There's a little foam pocket here.
Oh.
Yeah, and also another little storage space here. If you look down below, you should have a little Easter egg down there with the bus,
right there.
giving you a little symbol, a friendly hello. You pop these down. Now you can get a sense of the van life action. So, you know, you can take this out and put your full aftermarket. Yeah.
Two people in here,
there's
actually.
some cool like charging components back there for some electricity. And then in the U.S. version and the North America version, there'll also be a glass roof option. So that'll be a lot of fun, and you can, you know, get some nice views as you're laying back here and looking at the stars.
This is so cool.
Yeah.
What a great car. This is very different than my friend Christine's car growing up.
Yeah.
Her van was very different.
Yeah, I mean, as you can see, it's been designed for comfort, safety as well, and then most importantly, you know, zero emissions. You know, Volkswagen was one of the first to sign up, you know, for the Paris Climate Accords. We firmly believe in that. Just by going, you know, all in on EVs, we're responsible for about between 1% and 2% of all vehicles on the road, and so going EV will save us a lot of carbon in our atmosphere.
Yeah, it's interesting because I feel like some other car companies dial back some of their EV, but you are set to release like 25 new EV vehicles by 2030.
Yeah, we're fully committed. I mean, I will say that we are looking at all roads to, you know, reduced emissions, and that's EVs. It's also hybrids. It's also innovative fuel technology, and so we're fully committed there. But particularly for the EV set, you know, you've got to. We're in California, had some of the toughest emissions worldwide, and so they are really setting the standard, and we're raising the bar to meet that standard, and that's why we're committed to bringing 25 group BEVs. You know, as you think about the Volkswagen group, we have Audi, we have Porsche, we have Lamborghini, we have Bentley, and then there's the core volume group of Volkswagen, and then we also just recently introduced the Scout brand that will come online around 26, 27. And then those will be more rugged SUVs and trucks as well. So overall, the group is firmly committed to it. We have a large manufacturing facility. We actually have invested an additional $1 billion plus in Chattanooga just to get ready to produce the ID.4. We started assembly of that last year in Chattanooga, and now the ID.4 made in Chattanooga is a top-selling EV in America, top 4. And it shows you like the brand pivot for us in terms of the world of EVs. Whenever, through our research, whether it's been opinion polls or opinion elites, we are seeing a 20% reputation bump when anyone associates an ID Volkswagen to the brand. And so they think of the brand in a much different terms. They have a much different connection to the brand. And so for this, we see this as our brand halo, the ID Buzz. The ID.7, which is next, that's our long-range, like fastback sedan. That'll be our range hero. And so between the ID.4, the ID.7, and the ID Buzz, that really paints the future of the brand here. And that's been our storytelling task, is to show investment in America for the ID4, and then the ID Buzz and ID7 will import from Hanover.
Yeah, I saw your CEO, Pablo DC. He's really talking about like a turnaround in North America region through the work of the ID Buzz.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, and Pablo's great. He's about a year into the role. He firmly believes in not just our turnaround as a business, but more importantly, the culture that's needed to drive that change. And so I think what we've seen is just a real doubling down on communications in a period of immense change. He has 82,000 followers on LinkedIn. He posts, multiple times a week, and he posts like where he's at and why it's important. And that's built a followership and just an openness and transparency in our company that I think that's authentic. I think that defines the kind of the modern leader. I love it when we do video shoots with him because he'll come over and he'll look at himself in the frame. So he's like, Cameron, stand there. And like, what CEO do you work with that's that invested, in that? In fact, I should have done that before we started today. But that just shows you like he's firmly supportive of the communications and corporate affairs function. He's very active in Washington. We have him active there, and then at the state level as well.
Okay, neat. Are you going to drive us around?
Yeah, let's go for a spin.
I'm really excited.
Yeah.
Okay, so earlier you were talking about Pablo, your CEO, Pablo DC, and how, the turnaround story of Volkswagen, especially with ID Buzz. So how do you, as a storyteller, how do you communicate that message out to like internal and external audiences? Yeah,
I think one of the things that we learned, after Diesel, the brand really suffered, right? But one of the unique things that we did, and I think which is largely heralded, is that we owned it. We owned it from a risk standpoint. We bought back every one of those vehicles, gave you the option to sell back your vehicle, and we paid it forward as well. So we are a much better company, both internally and externally, in the way we operate as a result of it. And to be able to get back into the evening news without a scandal was like one of our biggest challenges. Like, how do you tell that story in a way that shows that you're turning a corner? And so we wanted to be proactive on that and take a little bit of risk. We have invited several national and international media to Chattanooga, which we feel is really the heartbeat of our turnaround story in the U.S. We've invested more than $4.3 billion down there, have about 5,000 employees down there who are really leading our turnaround. And so we wanted to show that off. We wanted to show that with the launch of this vehicle. And so we invited Leslie Stahl and her team at 60 Minutes to Austin when we signed up for South by Southwest. We sponsored that. We wanted to put the brand in real culturally relevant moments for film, entertainment, music. We found that to be a natural connection. And so when we debuted the European version of the ID Buzz, what we ended up doing was bringing it immediately to Austin and also bringing our global chairman there and our U.S. chairman at the time. And we invited Leslie Stahl and her team at 60 Minutes to come and experience this turnaround that's happening at Volkswagen. And we brought not just the Buzz, but we brought Porsche Taycan, we brought Audi e-trons, just to show her the breadth and scale of this transformation and give her a little bit of flavor. Some of that is risk, taking, because 60 Minutes is no slouch in terms of investigative reporting.
Exactly, yeah.
The last time that the brand overall was on there was Audi, and it really got lit up in terms of a negative story in, I think it was the 80s. So our last experience with 60 Minutes was not positive, and obviously after Diesel, there was a lot more fear in terms of how do you engage that way. But I'm a firm believer in owning that narrative, and you have to own it full scope. And we had a lot to tell in terms of how far we've come as a company, and they gave us a fair shake, and I will say they were great to work with. Overall, I think one of the things that was really important during that filming was just closely watching the fact-checking process. That's like, journalism 101, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And that gives you an indication as well as where's the story going. Mm-hmm. And as long as you can manage the expectations internally that, yes, they will cover parts of your past that are not flattering. But the benefit of telling where you're headed overall in terms of the story and making that relevant from a timeliness, it has paid off in spades. And, that they're able to take that clip, chunk it up, and then media come out of the woodworks and want their own take on that. And so we've hosted Good Morning America live there on the factory floor. We've done a lot of things with government officials, not just in California, but Texas and Tennessee as well. And so you see that as part of our storytelling efforts. And it's playing to both sides of the aisle as well. It's not just about investing in the American South, but you think about the Volkswagen consumer. We're a little left of center, right? And so we're not going to get away from that nature of our values as a company, and you see that manifest in some of the sponsorships that we elected and some of the issues that we lean
for
in
sure.
on.
I did want to ask you about that. So you were talking about the culturally relevant moments and sponsoring South by Southwest, which is in Austin.
Yeah.
I am a huge, if you know me, I'm a huge soccer fan.
Oh yeah.
The women's team, the men's team.
Yes.
I watched NWSL. I have season tickets to the Rain.
Yeah.
We have this year with Megan Rapinoe.
Yes.
But it also comes with, it's not like a clean gift. And Volkswagen is a huge sponsor of a lot of these events, very prominently featured.
Right.
But even like the women's soccer team, they've dealt with issues in the moment,
right.
Cultural relevant events like LGBTQ plus rights,
right.
or fighting for equal pay.
Right.
So can you maybe talk a little bit about that and sort of the sponsorship aim and what you support that may also, doesn't have 100% acceptance across all consumers?
Yeah. So first of all, I would say, soccer is the beautiful game, right? It's followed by countries worldwide, and Volkswagen has a long history with it. So we've sponsored, the men's and women's national team. We actually sponsor more than 20 national teams around the world, and that includes men's and women's teams, and it also includes the U.S. team that we've sponsored for quite some time. Why it's a fabulous platform for us is twofold. One is it allows our brand to be associated with the relevant issues of the time, and it allows us to be in the heart of the matter, and allows the people that are really most passionate about it to speak about it. And so it associates our brand with issues that we care very dear about. We're a values-based company, and so we see our values playing out in terms of inclusion, belonging, fairness, and those things are important not just inside our company, but on the field and more broader. And so with soccer having such an influential platform, it's provided us the forum to do so. It's also allowed us to learn from what they're going through as an organization, and how we need to be prepared for that internally. The U.S. Soccer Federation has had their fair share of scandal, and being open and trustworthy and transparent about it in terms of your communication is a principle that they've espoused to live by and operate by, especially under Cindy Parler-Cohn's leadership. She's great, former Tar Heel, and really, really fabulous leader there. So we've learned from that and really valued their partnership there, and it's also provided us unique engagement moments for our CEO and other leaders. So, for example, he was on the field when we signed the Equal Pay Pledge in Washington, D.C. Earlier this year, and got a picture with Megan and got a picture with a lot of the key leaders that have been a part of this moment. That they were probably the tip of the spear. It has been years coming for an issue like that. The same thing with LGBTQ, right? You saw the men's team in Qatar and how impactful that was. And so at that point in time, we changed our logo on our social channels, and it's the inclusion flag, and we haven't changed it back since. It's not just a rainbow washing during Pride. We truly believe that if you're going to be following our brand and that you want to be a part of our family, that includes everyone. And so we've had a lot of questions, a lot of pressure from stakeholders, but we haven't flinched. And I'm very proud of that as not just a press officer, and I can speak on behalf of our CMO as well. She also holds the line and advocates the same way.
That is really great.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Go OL Rain. Okay, so so I think we're going to ask you some fun questions.
Okay,
in
let's
the back
do it.
of the car.
Yeah,
this
sure.
is great. He's a very good driver, very responsible.
Hey,
so.
safe. We got here in
very
one piece.
safe, exactly.
Yeah.
He has a special license to drive. So
yeah, I have a prototype license.
Prototype license.
Yeah.
All right, so you ready?
I'm ready.
Let's do this.
Okay.
All right, music. I mean, Woodstock. Are you like a...
Yeah, I mean, we're fortunate with a lot of Woodstock. Let's see, we put on Carly Simon every time we leave so that our shepherd stays calm. A little bit of James Taylor as well. Love that. I mean, we're going to see Pink in November at the Garden. I mean, I like some of the big name. I mean, we saw Taylor Swift in Soldier Field in Chicago.
Wasn't it amazing?
Amazing. We had great seats. So, I mean, like, I go in between, like, high profile and then, like, old school, like, 70s, 80s.
Like Carly and
yeah,
James.
Carly James, that kind of
I do like how you identify that your dog is also a James Taylor and Carly
Simon
fan.
Oh, completely. Like, you know, it's funny, my husband puts on, like, NPR, and I'll come home and they'll be, like, debating city politics, and I'm like, what is this dog listening to while we're at work? You know, and so it's
very
fun.
Well-informed dog.
He is probably smarter than all of us combined. You know, very, very connected to the politics of New York City and its region. So,
all right. So thanks everyone for joining this episode of In a Car with IPR. If you like what you see, give it a thumbs up on our YouTube channel and follow us. And stay tuned for more exciting In the Car in a ID Buzz.
Yeah.
With IPR.
I challenge my fellow trustee and IPR members. Top this.
Yeah, top that. Thanks. Awesome.
Thank you for watching this episode of In a Car with IPR. Want to make a tax-deductible contribution to support this series and fund research in the profession? Please visit us at instituteforpr.org/contribute.